Okay, let's talk. So is this what you would call one of those cases of a slap on the wrist? So hear this. So this guy, Noah Galle, he's known on TikTok for basically barreling down the road at ridiculous speeds. Now, when I say ridiculous, I'm talking like 182 miles per hour. Now, for those of you that follow the kilometer system, imagine like doing 290 kilometers per hour down the road. Now, when he does this, if his followers guess the speed that he's going at correctly, he gives them a prize of about $25. So on this particular day, when he was doing his nonsense, he actually crashed into another vehicle that was holding 6 people that had just finished work. And as you can guess, at those speeds, a vehicle coming at you that quickly, no one in the opposite car survived. So one would think that, accident or not, if you're responsible for the death of 6 people, then needless to say that you're about to have the book thrown at you. Take a good guess as to how many years he got. So apparently, if this case had actually gone to trial and he was found guilty, he would have been looking at about 90 years. 6 people, 15 years for each? That's your life right there. Now, and someone please make it make sense. How is it that you go from a potential 90? He received 2 years for each person that had lost their life. Now, the age ranges for all of these people that lost their lives varied from about 29 years old to 77.
A Wellington man charged in a deadly crash that killed 6 people in 2022 has pleaded guilty in the case. Investigators say then 17-year-old Noah Galle was driving a BMW at 151 miles per hour on 441 west of Delray Beach when he rear-ended an SUV with migrant workers aboard. Investigators say the victims were leaving work the night of the crash. Galle was sentenced to 12 years in prison, followed by 7 years probation.
Now, what's being suspected is that this guy's father actually had a part to play in the reason why he basically received this kind of a slap on the wrist. His dad, Craig Galle, just happens to be one of Palm Beach's more prominent lawyers. So his lawyers, recognizing that there's going to be some kind of pushback in regards to the plea deal, going from 90 years if he served trial and then 12 years for the plea deal, they decided that they were going to give an explanation and saying that he feels remorse, he's 20 years old, he gave efforts in terms of fundraising for the victims' families, and on top of that, he had several significant undiagnosed medical conditions. Those same medical conditions, they said, played a part in terms of why this accident even happened in the first place. So some people online are asking what I would consider to be fairly logical questions, which is, what kind of condition causes you to drive at 151 miles per hour?
Then 17-year-old Noah Thomas Galle drove his luxury car at 151 miles per hour on a Florida road.
And naturally, some people are upset, stating that this only happened because he's rich or his parents are rich. This only happened because the people that were involved were migrants, stating that a 12-year sentence for 6 lives is a joke.
Noah, what do you have to say now to the victims' relatives?
12 years behind bars for causing the deaths of 6 people. In January 2022, then 17-year-old Noah Thomas Galle drove his luxury car at 151 miles per hour on a Florida road.
The BMW struck a gray Nissan Rogue. It was occupied by 6 people, as we mentioned. 5 of them were deceased on scene, and 1 later was pronounced dead at the hospital.
Police say the women who died were all leaving work.
When he drove in the back, when he crashed into the vehicle, again, there was no brake applied. Our investigation shows he was traveling 151 miles an hour.
Galle built a following on Instagram and TikTok by posting videos of himself driving at excessive speeds, according to court records. Viewers were offered $25 via Cash App if they correctly guessed how fast he was going. Those accounts have been deleted. Galle is now 20 years old. He accepted a plea agreement where he has been sentenced to 12 years in prison instead of the 90 years he was facing. The prosecutor in this case spoke to WPEC.
No amount of time will bring back the victims for their families.
The relatives of the crash victims were not in court for the sentencing.
The victims all have written to us that they do not object to this.
Under the plea deal, upon his release from prison, Galle will be on probation for 7 years. He will not have a driver's license for 3 years, and he will be required to take a 12-hour driving course. There will also be 800 hours of mandatory community service, as well as attendance at a victim impact panel.
Palm Beach does things very differently, because I'm just thinking, 6 people dead, 12 years you get, and then you still get your license back. And all you really have to do after that is just take a 12-hour course?
On his release from prison, Galle will be on probation for 7 years. He will not have a driver's license for 3 years, and he will be required to take a 12-hour driving course. There will also be 800 hours of mandatory community service, as well as attendance at a victim impact panel.
What do y'all think though? Is this one of those cases of it was an honest accident and he shouldn't have his life ruined for just a simple mistake? Do you think that maybe someone else called in a favor, or they should have thrown the full book at him and even the plea deal should have been longer because it was 6 lives and this is unjustifiable? Whatever your thoughts are, leave them in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like and I will see you again on the next one. Be easy, y'all.